We're live. Hey, happy Thursday, and welcome again to another episode of the Jayson Estrera Show, where we talk about sports, basketball, and everything else that we can under the sun as accurate as possible. Now, for today's show, we have the Boston Celtics moving on to the Eastern Conference Finals, but are they ready for their challenges ahead? Luka Doncic and the Dallas Mavericks stampede all over the Oklahoma City Thunder at home, but will they close the series out in 6? And we've all wondered this, is the NBA rigged? Because Shaq seems to think so. But first, let's get this posted up. Yep, it's working. Sersky. Hey, but like I said, we had another good night in sports. First and foremost, we gotta. I can't start without talking about this for me last night, because where's the shit? Videos. What? This is how you get to see these guys battle it out one more game. Because I think at the end of the day, more game. It's not ending just yet. We get to see these guys battle it out one more game. Because I think at the end of the day, at the end of today, the Dallas Mavericks will win the game, and Luka Doncic will have himself a great performance. It's time. He got himself a little bit of rest. Stop all the Where is it? And I'm looking for him to have that game in Game 6. We've seen MVP performances from every other thing. Bro, where the fuck? The interesting part. Yeah, I've been 4 for. So, I'm kind of on a roll. That the New York Knicks, and I think Boston wins tomorrow. They close this out. See, so I had Boston winning, and obviously I had the Dallas Mavericks winning. So I'm 6 for 6 over the last 3 days in choosing who's gonna win these games. So I fear that I may know a little bit of ball. But first, before we get into the games, we have to talk about whether we think that the NBA is rigged or not. And I have this to show.
Oh, your ring's real?
No.
Oh. So it was scripted. You knew you was getting them.
Of course, all day, every day.
So y'all knew you was getting them that year.
Did.
Yeah.
It was a script.
True story. I never told the story. In the first round, my first championship. In the first round, I forget who we were playing. I hear Phil Jackson tell Gary Vitti, hey, get us some hotels in Indiana, because that's where we're going to play in the finals. This was like before game 1 in the finals, and like it did hit me until we got to Indiana.
Or maybe he just knew that they were the best team in the East.
I don't know. I'm just telling you what I heard the man say.
So he's talking to Funny Marco, and if anybody doesn't know Funny Marco's comedy, it's this dry. It's supposed to be an ambiguous joke where he don't really explain. If anybody don't know, Shaq is kind of trolling right there. However, what did they say? behind every joke, there's some truth. And, you know, we've seen this over the years, right? And so let's see what these guys have to say. This is Andre Iguodala, obviously, played for the Warriors, played for the Sixers, MVP of like the 2016 finals or something like that against Cleveland. Evan Turner also played at Philadelphia, played on Portland, scorer in the NBA. Let's see what they have to say.
Playing that for that week, like that was.
Yeah, we tried. I mean, the refs
now they know this. Like,
tried to get
Gilbert
teams
Arenas.
that game. You saw that?
Yes.
I watch everything.
Yes.
Damn. Oh yeah, we
They was trying to
allegedly. Hey, we had Klay Thompson foul trouble. Yeah, y'all got you too quick with. Get him out. Yeah.
You know we're gonna have to win by 15 just to win by 1. So I'm like, what you mean? He's like, bro, this is the NBA. It's entertainment. Like. LeBron is in the Heat or waiting. Would you rather watch the Celtics or the Sixers play the Heat? I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm on the team. I wouldn't even watch the Sixers play the Heat type shit. Like,
You gotta appreciate it.
but mind you, I'm young, 22, 23. I'm like, damn. You know what I mean? So it's like, so we get in this game. You know how much money the NBA is gonna lose? Like this, you know, type shit. I'm like, I guess, like a decent amount. It's like, would you watch that game next week if it was a Heat versus the Sixers? I'm like, nah. It's like, okay then. So like, that's why I'm telling you, take M's and M's from
M's
this.
and
Like,
M's.
what? He's like millions of memories.
Oof.
Because this is entertainment.
Damn, that's a bar.
Let's
So those players give you a little bit of insight on the fact that, and he even said this on that podcast, the NBA is aware of the storylines. The NBA is aware of all of the things going on. They're not naive to it. Basketball, at the end of the day, is still entertainment. And here I have a little quote from Russ, the musician Russ, the artist Russ, talks about faking streams, right? And I think that this draws a similar parallel to sort of what they're talking about.
say your song has 500 million streams, right? Organically. But let's say with fake streams, now you're at 900 million. No one's gonna sit there and be like, this is more like a 500 million stream song.
Yeah.
They're just gonna be like, this is a big song, makes sense it has 900 million.
That's honestly so smart.
Yeah, they're not doing it to the dude across the street.
And in that clip, he's talking about faking streams and how in music, when something like that happens, it's not with a random artist that someone would be suspicious on how they even got there. Shaq and the Lakers were a great team and they had the best players. It's funny because if the NBA were to rig that finals, you would think that it would have been the Lakers against the Knicks. Because the amount of money that would have generated, the eyes it would have put on the two biggest cities in the NBA, the Los Angeles and New York. But obviously they went to Indiana instead, and although they had a great player in Reggie Miller, we're talking about Indiana. So is the NBA rigged? I can tell you they have ways to rig it. And it starts with those guys that we complain about every night in black and white stripes. There's those motherfucking zebras on the floor. You know, they could draw quick whistles or swallow their whistle and not call fouls. And it's very subtle, right? It's very subtle. It's not every single game, even though I think a lot of people would like to think that it's every single game. But you can also tell over the years, if you've been watching basketball for a really long time, the years when it didn't go the way they thought it would go. The Toronto Raptors championship is the one that comes to mind. Everything was set up for the Warriors to win that. And they ended up flipping that story around, and it's still a great story, but the NBA was definitely not expecting the Toronto Raptors to win that, and it really came down to a bunch of injuries for the Warriors. You know, throughout history, when you see, you know, I've talked about it in a video, how in each decade there's only a couple of teams that actually win the championship. And yes, they have the best teams and the best players, but it's in the NBA's best interest at the same time. You start creating these legacies, and you start creating these historical moments, and these, you know, you start hitting milestones, right? Multiple MVP awards, multiple championships, 2-peats, 3-peats. Do they rig it completely? No, but I think that they wouldn't mind nudging something in that direction. The Detroit Pistons definitely played spoiler in 2004. I could tell you that much for sure. It's just, it's happened throughout the years. Now, it's just funny because everyone's joked about it. Everyone says something about it. And then I think some people forget that... Where's this photo? I think some people forget that this guy was actually in the NBA. Tim Donaghy was in the NBA and was guilty of these things, right? It just is what it is. You kind of have to know what you're looking at sometimes, and it's just... I've had to explain this to my dad at times where... Yeah, there's stars, and there's a pecking order in the NBA, right? And that star power has a huge influence on it. Think about it when people put money into colleges. Their kids have an access, you know, people talk about it all the time. Their kids get in easily, get good grades or whatever. You know, now they have access to opportunities. Similar idea, right? These big markets are bringing in more money for the league. Of course, the NBA should try to push some things that way. Because even if the Charlotte Hornets were to win the championship, they're still in Charlotte. These are just some of the realities of sports and of entertainment. It can happen, but it's very unlikely. But it's just interesting seeing that on the timeline. Everybody was going crazy about it. Obviously Shaq was trolling. But like I said, behind every especially great joke, there is some truth to it. And we've seen some of this in the past. And with how prevalent sports betting is, it would be hard for me to believe that there isn't something going on behind the scenes that we're not privy to. It would just be hard to believe. Moving on. So the other day we were talking about Caitlin Clark. Obviously, Caitlin Clark has made a splash in the WNBA and is changing things in a matter of weeks. But for me, as a person who's, hey, well, I'm here now. Caitlin Clark has brought me here. My dad's always kind of watched the W over the years, right? Just loves basketball. I'm not going to pretend like I've never watched basketball, but I'm also not going to pretend as if I'm some avid WNBA watcher. Caitlin Clark brought me here, and we're just going to be honest. But I think the beautiful thing is what her light that she has brought into the WNBA is so bright and it's so big that now it's shining light on these other people like A'ja Wilson.
We have the second game of our doubleheader, Phoenix visiting Las Vegas, but first,
yeah, so they obviously got their
yep.
They obviously got their championship rings.
I thought the last ring
will be a premium for the Mercury as they're without their big and
relying on some of his veterans.
Great look up ahead, and A'ja Wilson, who
From South Dakota, as Becky Hammond from South Dakota.
inside and blocked.
And we come in thinking that it's easy, and it's never going to be. This league is too good for us to think like that. So I really had to get in their rear area.
This is at halftime.
I'm fed up. I'm over it. I know it's game one, but we're taking we're taking stuff too lightly, and I just had to really kind of express that.
10-point ball game as Wilson sees that one rolling.
So she ended the game with 30 points, 5 assists, what is that? 1 steal, 3 blocks, and 13 rebounds. Shot 10 of 22, 45% from the field. Like, I was, just because I didn't want to come on here and sound like an idiot. She's the 2-time regular season MVP award winner, Finals MVP last year, and a 2-time Defensive Player of the Year award winner. When you talk about one of the best players, some people are saying the best players in the WNBA, who also talks shit, also has a personality, as she's shown with the basketball and the way that they're rolling that out. Caitlin Clark has really shined the spotlight on the WNBA, and it's shining a light on all of these other players. Angel Reese had her debut yesterday as well too. And there's just, like I said, there's a ton of light being shined on the WNBA, and I think it's great because they do have a good brand of basketball. It's a bunch of high percentage shooting, and they're gonna go and get you some layups. And especially right now, they're getting up and down the court. We're seeing the future. Caitlin Clark is the future. We're seeing Juju Watkins in the USC in college. We're seeing the style of play changing, and it couldn't be at a better time. And so yeah, some people are hating on all this stuff that's happening around Caitlin Clark. I'm sure the people in the WNBA, to an extent, might hate it because they've been doing this, but it's also got to be a sigh of relief because at least now the spotlight is on you guys, or on you girls, sorry. And hey, hopefully I'll take it to the moon, man. Hopefully I'll take it to the stars. Like, I think that's wonderful. Now moving on to the games that we had last night. Jayson Tatum and the Boston Celtics move on to the Eastern Conference Finals, where they wait to see who wins in the New York Knicks Indiana Pacers series. The Celtics won the game 113-98. Let me see this. Tatum had 25 points, 4 steals, 9 assists, and 10 rebounds. One shy of a triple-double. We're talking a lot about, everyone's talking a lot about, Luka's triple-double last night, but Tatum was right there. Shot 9 of 16 from the field, 3 of 7 from 3. Which kind of breaks the the rule that I've had for him of when only a third of his shots is coming from the 3-point line, that he's doing much better. And you know, he finally breaks that little streak, because he's been shooting awful when he's been getting up, you know, these kind of numbers, this kind of ratio from the 2-pointers to the 3-pointers. And aside from him, Al Horford added in a big 22, went 8 of 15 from the field, 6 of 13 from 3, had 15 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 blocks, and a steal. Jaylen Brown finally had himself a little off game, had 11 points on 4 of 9 shooting, 1 of 3 from 3, 4 rebounds, 7 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. And on the other side, Evan Mobley had himself 33 points with 7 rebounds, 4 assists, shot 15 of 24 from the field, 0 of 3 from 3. And Garland only had himself 11 points, while Marcus Morris had himself 25. It was just, Donovan Mitchell was out, Karis LeVert was out. They just didn't have the scoring that you would want them to have, especially at this point in the playoffs. But let's see how it turned out.
In terms of his impact defensively and ability to space it, but boy, if he can start to see the ball.
Defensively, those two, White and Holiday, just incredible. Tatum turns the corner.
The spacing, relocating really good for the Celtics.
Through the kick to Strus. Morris, White did his big scoring game the other night as Strus up top. Jaylen Brown, whose offensive efficiency numbers have been off the charts in the playoffs, kind of stumbled with his feet. Season at 37-4, but we know about their struggles in the playoffs.
Wow.
3-point shooter in the postseason, and he is looking awfully comfortable with the shot clock at 10, trying to find some daylight. Gets it to White, hoists.
Oh my God!
He's had, and there's another steal by Horford.
All the way.
Fouls. Garland trying to check Tatum, 4 to shoot. Tatum
Oh, give me that.
for some daylight.
Pass.
Forces a turnover. Horford, Garland.
They can do it for a given night. They just can't do it consistently.
No Donovan Mitchell, no LeVert, and that they'd still be alive.
Or offensively.
Wade trying to stay in front of Tatum, who gets it to Horford in the corner.
Big
By
three.
Sunday or Tuesday.
Another one.
We were just talking about you guys getting to the conference finals, and I was saying, quite frankly, I don't think anyone cares anymore about you guys doing that, because everyone knows that you're capable of doing that. Do you feel
He's
like
the feds, bro. Like this dude, the feds.
As far as MVP voting and things go, and not getting over the hump, do you think they're penalizing you for that?
Oh man, it's a lot of things I wish I could say, but you know, that's not for me to decide.
So obviously Boston won the game. We saw Draymond there being one federal, bro. Like, you can't be asking out. You playing still. What he's supposed to say to that? But honestly, the game was close. They were talking about it, but with no Donovan Mitchell, no Karis LeVert, and a Boston team that has been cruising through the playoffs so far, I think human nature took over. And I get it, you know, coaches and people are going to be like, you can't do that. You can't do that. What the fuck do you want them to do coming into a game that, even with Karis LeVert and Donovan Mitchell, I'm sure they knew they were going to win? With them out, of course they knew they were going to win. But they just got a little bit lazy, right? They just weren't trying as hard. It happens. And he said in that interview, when those stars are out, Cleveland knew they weren't going to win that game. It was a win-win scenario for them, because there was absolutely no pressure on Cleveland. They can chuck up as many shots and miss all of them and it wouldn't matter. If they make all of them and win, congratulations, you're still probably going to lose the series. But they made them and still lost, and no one's still going to give a fuck. Because we all knew that Boston was going to win that game. Human nature just took over a little bit for Boston. And when it was time to kick it up, they did exactly that. They've been used to winning all year, and they've won under different circumstances. Against a lesser team, they could turn it on like that. And that's what we saw last night. And on the other side for Cleveland, Donovan Mitchell, who was up and down in that first series until he had that breakout 50-point game, and then just started balling through the Boston series until he got hurt with that calf injury. I don't know if he's injured or not. I don't know shit about shit. But it looks like it got to a point for him where he was looking around. He's like, oh shit, I'm out here by myself. He's like, wait a second. I'm doing this by my motherfucking self. And so I don't want to say that he gave up on his teams. It's funny because there's just I was scrolling through and then I see this report about he was frustrated with teammates during the playoffs. According to Chris Fedor, I don't know who the fuck this is. He grew frustrated with some teammates, his lack of maturity, focus, playoff level readiness, and a willingness to listen. And Chris Fedor is a beat writer. Yeah. Listen, man. Yes, but, I don't know who you heard that from as well. But, yes, that is how it looked. Right? It looked like this shit, bruh. It looked like
homeowners pay off your mortgage in as early as 5 to 7 years.
Pay off our mortgage. What the fuck are you talking about? This is what this. I 100% believe this is what Donovan Mitchell felt like in the middle of that series, bruh. Bro, this is exactly how he felt, bro. This is how this motherfucker felt in that series. He said, I'll do this whole shit by my damn self. Except instead of Jon Snow, he said, I'ma leave. He said, I'm out. So yeah, moving forward for Boston, they've obviously had a real easy path to the Eastern Conference Finals, right? This is their 6 times in 8 years, right? Six times in 8 years. Let's see, how many years has this fool been in the NBA? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years he's been in the NBA. Eastern Conference Finals last year, Eastern Conference Finals year before that, Eastern Conference Finals 2020-21, Eastern Conference Finals 2019-2020, Eastern Conference Finals. Oh shit, sorry, no, I'm fucking trolling. So now they're in the conference finals. They're in the conference finals last year, right? Year before that, lost in the finals. First round 2020-2021, conference finals 2019-2020, and then semifinals 2018-2019. Conference finals 2017-2018. So Tatum has been living in the Eastern Conference Finals. But people forget that he's only been in the league for 7 years and he's only 25. He's also had a lot of turnover when it comes to players, coaches. It's getting to that point, and I understand what Draymond is saying, that no one cares, because now it's finals appearances. Can you win it? Can you win a finals? Can you win a championship? And that's really what it comes down to. For them, it's really just trying to get there right now. More than likely, they're going to play against my New York Knicks in the Eastern Conference Finals. And Draymond asked a great question, which obviously Tatum couldn't answer right there, because why would he? And it was, looking forward, how are they going to look to defend pick and rolls against dynamic point guards like a Jalen Brunson, like a Luka, like a Shea, like a Jamal Murray, who are looking to come off of the pick and roll and score. And on top of that, looking to target a player like Al Horford. Especially right now, when Porzingis has been out. How would they play that? The easy answer would be to just switch whoever Tatum and Horford are playing. Right? So for against the Knicks, for example, when you have Hart or Achua playing the 4, you would literally just switch Tatum and Horford, so that when Hartenstein goes up to set a pick and roll for Brunson, it's Tatum switching on him instead of Horford, who's slower. But now you have Horford, whose sole goal is to try to prevent Josh Hart from getting offensive rebounds, and also to try to keep Hartenstein off of the offensive rebounds. That's how that should play out. And if they switch it, then you'll have someone like Drew Holiday, who's probably going to end up on Hartenstein. And at least with Hartenstein rolling to the rim, you can almost switch that real quick, right? Like, that could be the game plan. When they come off a pick and roll and switch, Tatum is on Brunson, Drew is on Hartenstein. Hartenstein's obviously going to short roll, looking for a pass to then kick to the corner. If not, he's going to dive to get an offensive rebound. And when he dives, now you have Al Horford and Drew Holiday in the paint to try to match Hartenstein and Josh Hart. And at least Drew Holiday is not only a veteran, but even for a point guard, he's a big body. And Josh Hart is only 6'4". I don't see Hartenstein getting 12 offensive rebounds like he did against Indiana the other night. I just don't see it. I think that's a really simple fix for that. And then if they do guard-to-guard pick and rolls, they can just switch it. And if it's not Drew Holiday, then you can have Jaylen Brown on him. Or invert it. If you want to start Jaylen Brown on Brunson to have the bigger body, they'll invert and switch it, and he'll have Drew Holiday on him if Dante or McBride gives him a pick. And that's why I didn't like this matchup to begin with. Because the Boston Celtics have bodies to throw at him, but you also have size and length and stars who, when it comes down to it, in those scenarios where Brunson's going to try to body them up and get calls, the referee isn't going to be so quick to blow that whistle against Boston, because Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are stars. And that's the issue. And now, instead of having to consistently double team Brunson, Boston can now play him straight up. Switch anytime he's in a pick and roll and stay at home with your man. Force him to take tough shots. He's gonna get to the mid-range. He's gonna bump these guys. He's gonna fade away. If he goes 25 for 35, you shake his hand and say good game and move on. But if you're Boston and those switches are gonna be Tatum and Brown consistently, for them, I like their chances. And it's a similar thing going up against a Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, a Luka Doncic. It's similar. They'll be able to have bodies to be able to throw at them, to hopefully have the opportunity to play these guys straight up and not have to double everything. The Knicks have done a great job of, yeah, it's just standard pick and rolls, but when Brunson is getting picked up full court, they'll give it to someone else. He'll come off of a stagger screen, repick, snake it. They're doing a great job of just giving different looks on these picks. Or he'll just isolate on one side of the floor with no strong side corner. They've done a really, really great job of just playing really gritty. I would love to see, I want to see how this matchup works out. Can the Boston Celtics stay disciplined in that defense? Because if it's one of those situations where Brunson starts getting off, will Boston double him, or will they stay disciplined and just stay with their game plan? Because when Brunson is getting off and now you allow other guys to start getting going also, that's when it becomes a real problem. But congratulations to the Boston Celtics. They move on to the Eastern Conference Finals, and they're waiting, like I said, for the winner of the Knicks-Pacers series. But moving on. Last night, we also saw the Dallas Mavericks stampede all over the Oklahoma City Thunder in Oklahoma. They ended up winning the game 104-92, but it really didn't feel that close for most of the game. Like I said, Luka was going to give an MVP type performance. I wasn't sure if he would get into 40. That's why I was really iffy about it. Excuse me, because I was really confident that he would have a great game. I just wasn't sure if it would be a big scoring game, and it was a great scoring game, but it just wasn't one of those 45-point games. He ended up with 31 points, 11 assists, 10 rebounds, a triple-double. Shot the ball 12 of 22, 5 of 11, 2 of 3 from the line. Just a great shooting night from him, which has been really tough to come by for him over the playoffs. I'm not going to lie to you. Derrick Jones added in another 19. He was great at the half, man. Let me see what... He was on fire. I don't think he missed through the first half. I really don't. He was 7 of 9 from the field, 3 of 5 from 3. Had a rebound, an assist, a steal, and a block. But he just also had some massive dunks, big energy swing plays. And on the other side, Shai, again with another 30-point game. Like I said, just a model of consistency every single night. You know exactly what you're going to get from him. He added in 30 points, 2 steals, a block, 8 assists, 6 rebounds. He shot 12 of 22 from the field, 2 of 4 from 3, 4 of 6 from the free throw line. From the other guys, they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players in double figures. Again, but the other guys had 11, 12, 12, and 13 by Holmgren, and that's just not enough. he might be starting to feel like the way Mitchell is feeling. It feels like Shea needs to go and get 40, 50 points for them to have a legitimate chance of winning this game right now. Because, especially with a game like Luka had, Shea is only matching his production. He's not beating him out in that. Especially in the other games where even if Luka's not shooting well, he's getting a couple of assists still. Like, he's keeping the production, the total output close. These other guys just aren't giving him anything. Especially with Kyrie Irving being, you know, relatively docile at this point. Like, he only had 12 points. He got up a couple shots in the first quarter. Like, I was surprised. He got up 3 shots in the first quarter, 3 shots in the second quarter. I was like, oh shit, okay, like you trying to get some shots up. And 4 shots in the third. So like, he was trying to be a little bit more aggressive, but he's still 12 points is like, he hasn't had a great scoring night yet. And it seems like Shea needs to damn near put up 50 for them to have a legitimate chance of winning this game. And it's tough because that was game 5. Game 4, they lost. Game 3, let me see. Yeah, so game 3 was the game where the Mavs were up by a lot. And first half, let's see. Was it this one? Where they got out to a big lead. And then, like, they almost came back, but they still closed the game out. Was that game 3? I think it was. Yeah, and then Dallas won game 4. And then OKC stole game 4, and then they obviously won last night. Or it might have been game 2 where that happened. Well, anyway, it just... every game has felt like Dallas has been cruising, hitting shots. Their pick and roll and drive to alley-oops has been really effective. Although it got to a point in the fourth quarter where OKC was making a little bit of a run, and Luka and Kyrie are just coming off of picks, and I'm like, what are we doing? Did we even watch this? Oh, let's take a look at this actually. Let's take a look at what happened.
Irving trying to shake Joe. He does. Left. Mavericks have made their last 5 shots. Gilgeous-Alexander with a left-handed pass outside Dort. Faced a similar situation in the first round against the Clippers and blew out LA. Engage is running. Right down the middle for Doncic. Lob and slam! The first time as well. Jones now on the bench. Hardy. Fake it. And some guys that can make things happen on that end.
Well, it's all about making adjustments in the playoffs.
Gilgeous-Alexander.
He's so good at that.
Irving.
Another master of the mid-range.
Give and go. Extra
had it all night. This shot is so tough.
Clock is down to 12. Irving loads it up with 8 assists. Doncic misses on a 3-ball. Green keeps it alive. Washington.
Oh,
free throws.
He's been great.
Gilgeous-Alexander works in over Green.
Tough,
ball.
man. He's just
Kyrie
so tough.
Is there. He tried to pop it in. Lively clears. Doncic
Long 3.
Laces it through. Dort picks up Doncic full court. Lively again trying to set a screen. Step back, Doncic. Perimeter. Washington missed it on a 3-ball. Irving taps it back. Doncic.
Another long three.
Kaboom! It's a 3 by Holmgren. Break opportunity. SGA blocked by Doncic.
Luka, this Oklahoma City fan base has taken a little bit of a liking to you, so to speak. As a competitor, do you thrive on just being able to silence the crowd the way you did in the game that you had?
I love it. And when they chant Luka sucks, it gets me going, man.
This dude is crazy. So, obviously, Luka had a great game. I guess for me, the only thing about the way he's been scoring, I don't know if it's an injury thing, fatigue. 5 out of 11, but a lot of those were long threes. And this is why I look at this series and I see 7 games, because yeah, 15 out of his 31 were from the 3-point line, but 3 of them, I felt like 3 or 4 of them were like those long threes. He had a step back on Dort. Like, they're just, some of them are just tough shots, and it's one of those things where you make some, you miss some, and he was making them last night. However, when you know, he's only getting to the line 3 times. He's not putting the pressure that he typically does. You know, thankfully for him, I've been calling for him to stop complaining, and he finally did that. Thank God. But like I said, it's a lot of jump shots. In the fourth quarter, they don't have these auto sets that they go to get Luka and Kyrie good shots or good opportunities. It's still a lot of pick and roll. Down the stretch, I was watching it, like, it seemed like they weren't even looking to score at some points, and they just were looking for corner threes for their guys, or for alley-oops. There was a moment when OKC was making a run, and instead of Kyrie hitting a floater, he had a wide open floater, he threw it up to Gafford, and Gafford got fouled. It just makes you wonder, if the game were tighter, like it was the other night, and SGA is coming like the way that he was just on a roll. Some of those misses and some of those mental lapses are gonna cost you. It didn't last night, but moving forward, it's the game isn't as clean as it looks sometimes, at least for me. And maybe that's just my perspective, just the style of basketball that I prefer. But it's a lot of perimeter stuff for Luka still. He's not getting a foot in the paint the way he typically does. He's not getting free throws the way he typically does. Kyrie isn't getting off. If they can get one of these, if they can get the next game to where Luka has a bad shooting night, and you get a PJ Washington or a Derek Jones to start shooting more shots than they're supposed to, and you just kind of hang in there, I think OKC has a great chance of pushing this to 7 games. I really, really do believe that. I think OKC has a great chance. They only need one more guy to get going, and that's it. They just need one guy to get going for them, and I believe SGA can put them over the top. And I'm looking for them to do that in this next game, man. What a series, though. This series to me has just been so back and forth, and it's just such a great story. And on tonight, off the back of the masterful, virtuoso performance by Nikola Jokic in Game 5, we have a Game 6 in Minnesota. The Denver Nuggets versus the Minnesota Timberwolves. The game is at 8:30 p.m. Eastern tonight. Denver is up 3-2. Now, last game, Jokic was unbelievable, right? He was barbecue chicken the entire game. 40 points, 13 assists, 2 steals, 7 rebounds, 0 turnovers. I apologize to him because I lost sight of what I had always known. It is tough to beat a dominant big man without another dominant big man. Minnesota has 2 big men. Neither of them, unfortunately, are dominant. And so, Anthony Edwards tonight can have the game of his life. But because of Jokic's style of play, the way he can put pressure on you, when he decides to go, he gave the Minnesota Timberwolves no life in Game 5. Anytime they went on a 6-0 run, 5-0 run, 8-0 run, he would immediately, if he was out the game, they would call a timeout and he would come in. If not, he would immediately, and if he was already in the game, he would immediately call damn near an isolation on Rudy Gobert or Karl Anthony Towns or whoever the fuck is on him, and just go and get a bucket, and he would snuff out the fire just that quickly. He wouldn't even let them get a 10-0 run. Just a great understanding of time, points, situation, the team you're playing against. Just a great understanding of these things, right? And especially for a big man that presents so many mismatches the way he does. The defensive player of the year for him is a mismatch. You know, Gilbert Arenas, Kenyon Martin, and them were talking on the show, and I agree. He's not a great on-ball defender. He averages a lot of blocks because he's a great weak side defender. It's no different to what I've always said about, you know, other players like LeBron, for example. There's no disrespect to him. When he would get scored on in one-on-one situations, people would be like, oh my God, how the fuck does that happen? And it's like, it's not his strength. He can do it. It's not his strength. He's a better weak side defender where he could anticipate what you're going to do and meet you at the top and use his athleticism. Gobert is very similar in he gets his blocks on weak side help. He's not clamping people up one-on-one. Not big guys. Let alone a guy that can pull him out all the way to the three-point line. I've spoken a lot about how Denver has kind of switched the way Jokic has been catching the ball. He's catching it at the slot with no strong side corner so that entire side of the floor is open. You cannot send a double team. Rudy Gobert, the defensive player of the year, is on an island. The irony in this is he had 40 points and 13 assists last game. And they won the game, obviously. I would play him differently. I would say, go get a record in points tonight. We got to hold him to 5 assists or less. Karl Anthony Towns, you have size. You can move your feet. You have to take that challenge. And you can't care about how much he scores. Because great players will make great plays. The better offense will always trump great defense. You can play the best defense of your life and a guy can still make the shot. That doesn't mean you didn't play good defense. And I think in this series, at times, he's done a better job than Rudy Gobert on defense. Rudy Gobert has just been getting cooked the entire time. And I think that Jokic has taken that matchup personally. But if I'm Minnesota, I would want to turn this into a one-on-one game against whoever Jokic's matchup is. We cannot let Aaron Gordon get hot. We can't let Michael Porter Jr. get hot. We can't let Jamal Murray get hot. It can't happen. Let's see. Is this the one that I was... Excuse me. Is it here? Bro. Like, some people don't even know. That's Aaron Gordon right here in the white, by the way. Like, some people don't even know outside of the dunk contest that Aaron Gordon has this one-on-one game in his bag. Step backs, pull-ups, fadeaways, like going toe-to-toe with Kevin Durant. Look at that. Off the wrong foot, faded away. And that guy, just to give him his flowers, that guy with that kind of ability who can score with Kevin Durant takes a back seat to a player like Aaron Gordon, to a player like Jokic, to a player like Murray. Just to show you how deep this Nuggets team is. And I was talking about Minnesota kind of reminds me of them in the sense they have size at every position. This is what they need. This is how good you guys have to be individually so that when you guys come together and play your roles and someone needs to step up, you're capable of it. Aaron Gordon, for the last couple of years, ever since he's been on Denver, has been known as a dunker, but for a while in Orlando, he was getting buckets. Right? And to see him transform his role for the betterment of the team it's a really cool thing to see. It's a super cool thing to see. And like I said, Jokic is still incredible. But I think that they could do something else. Force him to go one-on-one. Switch out Cat and Aaron Gordon. Right? And this is the thing if you're Gobert. You guys are probably gonna lose this series anyway. I think Denver wins tonight. But force Aaron Gordon to hit 6 3-pointers. Force him to go 6 of 12, 6 of 13. Force Jokic to have 50 points on 35, 40 plus shots. Like, this is what you're going to have to do. Right now, Gobert can't guard him because if anyone's ever watched, fighting, MMA, boxing, when Jokic drives on Gobert, he is biting on every fake. Kind of like when a fighter is sending you like feints and the motherfucker is just reacting to everything. That's what Gobert is doing. And it shows that you don't have the tools to be able to play this guy 1v1-on-1. You need to be able to pick a side, anticipate a spot. He's only got so many moves. Right? If he's going right, he's probably gonna spin. He might have a behind the back, or he'll step back. Force him to have to do a step through and put up a crazy shot. Force him into step back one-legged threes. But to allow him to get all the way in the paint and then you're biting on every fake, and now he's just going up and under, hook shots, floater, like he is doing everything he wants. And you need to try to take something away. Whether it's if you got to run all the fucking way back when he start driving to force him to shoot a mid-range shot, or to force him to pull up or step back. But you can't play him the way that you've been playing him. Just playing in fear of what he's about to do to you has put you guys on your heels. You guys need to do something a little bit different. But like I said, for tonight, I think, unfortunately for me, I think the Denver Nuggets close it out. I would love to see a Game 7. I picked the Timberwolves to be in the Western Conference Finals against Shea, and now neither of these picks are looking very good. They're both down 3-2. But, you know, I'm watching things as it goes, and it looks like Denver wins tonight. Just telling you what I see. We would need some miracle. We would need Karl Anthony Towns to transform into someone that we haven't seen him be yet. It's going to be that kind of performance that's going to put them over the top. Because I think Anthony Edwards is going to show up. Oh, and by the way, Jamal Crawford was talking about it during the game the other night. They got to stop running pick and rolls. Because the Denver Nuggets have decided that Anthony Edwards isn't going to beat them. They are doubling him every single time on a pick and roll. So, his counter needs to be what Jokic has been doing. Just isolate a fucking side. Doesn't matter who it is. You've been able to blow by everyone. The best defender on you has been Aaron Gordon. But we have seen if you can put him on his heels, you can step back and pull up, or he'll try to block you so you could step through. Michael Porter can't do nothing with you. He's not physical enough, even though he's tall. KCP is too small for you. Jamal, everyone else is too small. The only issue would be Aaron Gordon, but if you're isolating him from the three-point line using that first step, and then when you get in the mid-range, your bag, it's your best chance at being able to dominate that matchup. They got to stop calling pick and rolls for him and just let him score in isolation. Trust his isolation game. This game tonight, and in my opinion, is going to come down to one-on-ones. Who's going to win the one-on-one battles? Will Anthony Edwards be allowed to play one-on-one, and will he take those opportunities and take advantage of it? Will Minnesota force Jokic to play one-on-one to prevent the other players from getting involved? Because we've seen when you give Jokic options, he picks the best option every single time. Now, if you force him into only one thing and you don't give him other options, let's see what happens. If he goes score 60 and he beats you guys, then you shake that man's hand, you tell him good game, we'll see you guys next year. And that's it. Sometimes that's all it is. All this shit gets thrown out the window when great players are great. But you force him. You force him to have a historical game. You force him to have a great game. If they win tonight and he has 28 points, 15 assists, 15 rebounds, I'm going to be pissed. I'm going to be pissed. Because it feels like it might be one of those, and he goes and runs off like 10, 12 points in the fourth quarter and close the game out. Jamal Murray adds another like 10, 12 in the fourth. And we've seen this fucking story before. You have to do something to shake it up. Right? If he's gonna have a legendary game in the history books and have 60, at least you get to be a part of it too. Charlie Villanueva, a lot of people don't know. He said, "Hey man, I may never get a statue, but my name is on Kobe's." Because they were on the losing end of the 81 points. Hey, you get in where you fit in, right? If he's gonna be great, then he's gonna be great. But you gonna have to show me. That's what I would say. You gonna have to show me. And I think that's the mentality that Minnesota's got to go in with. They got to have some pride, right? Cat got to have some pride. Gobert got to have some pride. I know Anthony Edwards got pride because he did not play well the other day. And he'll respond. It's up to everyone else. But like I said, I got Denver winning this one. And again, thank you guys for joining me. Thank you guys for watching. It's been another great show. But yeah, thank you guys for hanging out. I'll be back tomorrow to talk about what actually happened in this game. Like I said, I'm 6 for 6, man. I chose Boston yesterday. Chose Dallas yesterday. The night before that, I had the Knicks and Denver. Right? I chose Denver to win. Yep. And then before that, I had chose the Boston Celtics and OKC to win. So I'm on a roll right now. Denver wins tonight. They move on to the Western Conference Finals. Unfortunate for me because Anthony Edwards and the Minnesota Timberwolves go home. But yeah, I'll see you guys later. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, all that good shit. And, stay safe. See you guys later. Peace.